So part 2 of the SS16 restromod video series. As you can see, I already got the transmission mostly installed. The paint for some reason is looking a lot brighter on camera than it is in person. It's much darker in person. So this is going to be called an SS16H, and that's because it's a hydro. Getting ready to put the hubs on. They're still kind of wet or tacky because I just painted them like half hour ago. So I was just sanding the very ends of the shafts so they slide on easier, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on there so that they come back off. I need to make a support that goes to that black plate right there to come straight up, and then to go to these two holes, and then there's the oil filter. The oil filter, what my plan is to have the two hoses come up through these two holes, and then have another bracket that comes here to hold that without modifying this. And then that actually connects to right there, right here, and then I forget where the other spot was. Oh, that's where their spot was. It goes to this right here, which this is the one side's the in, or I guess it comes from the actual gearbox there, through the oil filter, and then into the pump, and then this other return line here is that actually brings it back. The brake, I'm not even going to bother hooking up because you really don't need it. Who needs brakes? The rear tires, I cleaned those up because they're all full of oil. Front tires, I got some other ones for this because I got new tires on the front of my 20T. So I have these that came off of there. So I think next time you see this, the other side of the frame should be put on, and maybe the back tires put on. So as you can see, I got a lot done. All four tires are on it. It rolls if I push the hydro release. It actually steers really good. Steering is pretty tight, only has just a little bit of play in it. Turns all the way, both ways, really good. So this is going to be a really nice tractor. It actually sits level compared to the last one I did. It actually is like perfectly level with the front to the back. So I thought that was kind of cool. Replaced the bolt for the front axle so that it doesn't wobble. I guess it does a little bit, but not nearly as bad as it did before. Next to do is to paint this dash. Of course, to do that I have to cover up the whole thing. The engine. So the last update video that I showed when I got that ST16, I showed some engine parts for the Honda, and well, here is the Honda put together. I just realized that this here is already broken, but so this is a Honda GX 240, which is going to be a little small for this, but it'll probably be fine. If you look at it, you probably kind of almost think it's a new engine because it's all painted pretty good. Especially from this side, it all looks new. So that's a brand new gas tank that's actually off of that Lifen that went into that Roper Hydro. Of course, the new side cover, the crankcase was painted to match, so that's going to go in there. I'm probably going to do an exhaust, and I'll show you that right now. The exhaust is that one right there. It sounded sort of like an Onan with that deep exhaust sound. I mean, it still doesn't sound nearly as good as like an Onan does, but it sort of has that sound like one. So I'm going to end up putting that muffler on here. I was going to do a stack, but problem with stacks, I mean, I know a lot of people have stacks on their tracks, but I have problem for some reason with them. That you put it on there, you go over too many bumps, and it kind of wobbles and it breaks. So like on this one here, I supported pretty good with this piece here, but it still wobbles pretty bad. I'm not sure really what everybody's doing for stacks, but apparently I don't know what I'm doing. This one here isn't too bad, but it's still still makes me nervous going over bumps with it. So I want to do a stack, but I don't want to break the engine, because if it wiggles too much, I'm worried that it would probably bust the head, and that wouldn't be good. So what I think I'm going to do is get that engine bolted in and get this. Actually, I'm not going to bolt the engine in. I'm going to get the oil filter figured out, because that's actually painted, and it actually gets an oil filter for the transmission. There it is right here. So that's going to go on there. I'm going to make a nice little bracket for it with the little cover, just like the real one. And I'll take a look at this just to refresh. So yeah, something like that, except it's a little bit smaller. It's kind of what I'm going to do. And this Roper Hydro, somebody repainted it, and I don't really like how they did it. It just looks a little weird. So since that's the only one that looks kind of rough looking of my Ropers, this is going to be one of the next ones to restore. And another thing, that ST16 I just got, that's going to get restored too instead of parted out. I'm actually going to use the factory Tecumseh in there, so that's going to be kind of cool. Like actual, like 100% restored tractor finally. The only original tractor I have with an original engine is this GT18 right here, and that's not even restored. So yeah, that's gonna be kind of cool. So anyway, I'm gonna get a couple things done and come back. So the hydraulic filter is on. The hoses are on to it, as you can see. Made a little bracket for it. And I had to go and get all of the air out of the transmission, which that's always a lot of work. So what you actually have to do is, the right thing to do is to pour oil directly into the pump, which right here goes right into the pump. So I did that. And then what you want to do is turn it just a little bit, just until your hub starts to turn. And then what I did is I filled up the actual differential with the same oil, because it all shares the same oil. And then I poured some oil down into the filter, which would actually go backwards just to prime that. And it actually works. So unfortunately I have to actually hold this, which that's forward is back. And spin it over with the drill. Of course, trying to hold that and the camera at the same time is going to be kind of difficult, but let's see. As you can see there, it actually spun it a little bit. The drill was slipping just a little bit on there, but it turns. So I'm going to get the engine mounted. And where this pulley is located, the belt hits the side of the frame. So I think I'm going to have to put a pulley somewhere right here just to keep the belt from hitting that frame. Probably won't be a big deal, but it'll probably wear it out over time. So I'm going to get some more done and come back. Alright, so quite a bit has been done since the last part of the video, and as you can see, we are no longer in the shed. And the tractor has an engine in it. And a seat. Huh. And it did not get here by pushing it. It actually drove right here. And yeah, Hydro actually works. It's kind of slow, so it probably needs to have a little bit bigger of an engine pulley on it. I just kind of found that one and I stuck it on there just to see if it actually worked. And well, it actually works. Kind of surprised with that. I took this ratchet strap just to hold the lever on the transmission in full, just to make sure everything worked before I actually went and made a lever for the thing. So yeah, I'm really happy with this so far. Only thing that's gonna kind of suck is you can't use any middle mount attachments because you can't hook anything to the back there, because there's all kinds of stuff in the way. There's another look at that transmission. The belt is a little interesting there. This pulley should have been that way just a little bit more. And what I could have did is I could have put the axle in there a little bit too much that way, and that would have helped it a lot. And I see by looking at the tire and how much it sticks out there, how much it sticks out there, it's just about even actually. So I should have actually made it go that way just a little bit. And I probably actually still could, because if I just take this bracket here and put that on the inside and then drill these holes a little bit closer this way, and I can move it just a little bit that way. All it needs to be is like, even like a 1/4 inch would help. As you can see how that pulley is, just a little bit. So yeah, more coming soon. So yeah, that wraps up part 2 of the SS16 Hydro. The next video, it should be done and fully working.